Okay, so if you are just joining us, this is our webinar, Restoring Your Profit Centers During and After COVID-19 for the health and fitness industry, health club industry, and it is presented today by Smart Health Clubs, which is the future of wellness. We are going to start here in just a second. Just a reminder, everybody's muted automatically. We invite you to use the chat feature at the bottom for questions, and we will be taking all questions at the end. Our goal is to provide you with a webinar that leaves you with some key takeaways and solutions for your health club to generate revenue, increase member engagement, and solve some of the problems that you might be having in the wake of COVID-19. We'd like to try to keep this webinar brief so that you can get the most out of it in a short amount of time, but we will stay on for questions and answers as long as we have them. So no rush there. We are going to get started. Just making sure everyone can hear me. We are currently at 42 participants. And I just want to welcome everybody. So thank you for being here. One more admit to this meeting. Let's see. Don, thanks for joining. And we are going to get started. So right off the bat, I want to, let me see, move this so you guys don't see that. I want to introduce you to our Chief Operating Officer, Mike Alpert, who is a fitness industry veteran and leader. He's the president and CEO of the Claremont Club, and he's been a managing partner of the Athletic Club of Bend. And also Brad Thorpe, who's our vice president of sales. He's a tech and programming leader, a fitness industry veteran. And they are both here today to lead you through this webinar. Mike, do you want to go ahead and say a quick hello?
Sure, and also please mention Clay Whitaker, who's also been in the industry a long time, close associate of ours, and has just joined our team as of last week. I first want to thank Eddie Talk and Rex Roundtables for giving us this opportunity to host this webinar. We are a Rex trusted supplier. I have been a Rex Roundtable member for 20 plus years. So I want to welcome all of you and thank you for taking some time to be with us this morning. Let me just briefly run through what we're going to discuss today, give you a little idea of the agenda. I'm going to take just about a minute or two to tell you a little bit about how and why Smart Health Club started. I'm then going to address a couple of the key challenges that many clubs are faced with right now. And then we're going to give you a little bit of suggestions or things to think about of how to circumvent these challenges and moving forward. And then at the very end, we have a very short, I think, 1.5-minute video that will show you and tell you a little bit about what's in the pipeline and what's being developed now. So let me just start. And we also have a very special guest, a very special friend of mine, Aaron Moore, who is the operating officer for Beta Fitness, who operate and run 5 clubs in the Washington, D.C. area and 1 in Virginia, and also a Rex Roundtable member, and I believe now an URSA board member. So it's a real honor and pleasure to have you join us, Aaron, and we sure appreciate your help with this webinar. So a little over 4 years ago, I was introduced to Praveen Kashyap by a member of our club who thought we would be interested in a product that Praveen was developing called a Smart Weight Pin. Basically what that pin did is it replaced the weight stack pin that comes with selectorized weight equipment from the manufacturer with his smart pin. And a member would wear a wristband, and that wristband would capture data very similar to the same type of data that's captured by a MyZone belt or a Fitbit, Garmin, or Apple Watch when you're doing cardio workouts. It would recognize the machine that you were on, whether it was a leg press or a bench press. It would be able to capture the amount of weight you were using, the number of reps you were doing, the number of sets, your resistance, your range of motion, your caloric burn, and things like that. upload it to your computer, and you'd be able to capture that and review it shortly after a workout. And I thought that was a real game changer potentially. So we offered to be the beta test site for that pin, but during our early conversations, I began to express to Praveen that I saw a disjointed member experience as the root cause of the technical problems faced by our fitness industry. And that was caused by the fact that at that time at the Claremont Club, we were using 6 to 8 mobile apps in order to push information to our members that the members had expressed to us that they wanted to receive, and also information that we wanted to push to members for engagement, retention, and to drive revenue centers and profit centers. And it became very confusing, very time consuming, and very costly. And it seemed like every month a new app was coming out. And so what I said to Praveen is if he could develop an all-in-one member engagement single platform that could be accessed through his app, that I think that would really be a game changer. And so for the past 4 years, we've been working together, developing and refining this vision. And I think now today, Smart Health Clubs has really the truly only all-in-one member engagement single app for you and your members. So with that said, I want to bring on Aaron Moore and let him talk for just a minute on what he's seen and some of the challenges that Vita has had and how they've overcome those. So Aaron, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. So I'm going to talk for about 5 minutes. So if that's too much, just interrupt me. I won't take it personally. So there's several things that I'd like to share with folks on the call. I know many of you, so thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm sure it was a late night for a lot of folks last night. So good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're located. So I'll kind of go through the post-COVID relationship with Smart Health Clubs chronologically. I think it might be a little easier to follow along. So we went pre-COVID from first come, first serve in terms of access. And what I mean by that is you come to the gym, you check in whenever you want. You want to go to a yoga class or a spin class, you come, and if you get a bike, you get a bike. We had never done any advanced reservations or things like that. So as we all know, in the post-COVID world, that changed completely. So we really had to lean heavily on Smart Health Clubs, not only to do this period, but to do it in an efficient way that our members were going to appreciate and it was going to feel like an upgrade to them. So we are running 100% of our check-ins through the Smart Health Clubs app. So it's a functional purpose of doing that, but it's also ease of use. So without Smart Health Clubs, we were looking at backup plans of having to log into the website and all this clunky stuff that just isn't the same as if you're doing it through an app. So every member has a reservation to get into the club. They check in and they check out. Same thing with group fitness classes, same thing with pool reservations. And we actually have a couple rooftop pool clubs that are classified as restaurants that were able to open before the gym. And we were running our entire restaurant operation out of Smart Health Clubs. And this is partially features that were available out of the box through the Smart Health Clubs app. And part of it, Praveen had to build for us on the fly in order to allow us to operate our business. So it was a very powerful, seamless start to not only getting positive feedback on how we're handling the pandemic, but our members have been telling us, this is great. Like, let's do this, into perpetuity. It's so easy. And I like the guarantee of knowing that I have a spot in the class, in the pool, in the restaurant, what have you. Next item I want to talk about is it gave us the opportunity to downsize some of our softwares. I'm sure most of the folks on the call have a dozen plus softwares that they use. So when I was talking to Praveen, I said, listen, I'd be happy to have less softwares to worry about, but the features that you provide have to be as good or better than what I'm using now, because I'm not looking to downgrade services and features for ease of use, so to speak. So two things that we've been able to drop are GroupX Pro, which we use to manage our group fitness software. Love GroupX Pro, works really well, nothing wrong with it. but it's as good or better on Smart Health Clubs. So we have one less software to use. Same thing with MindBody. You know, we were using that with one of our studio operations, and we can do everything that we need to do through Smart Health Clubs. So there's no reason to have our members and our clients go into a separate software if they can do it right then and right there. So that was an interesting opportunity. Thirdly, communication with members and staff. It's so nice to have an app that you can send out quick push notifications that pop up on someone's smartphone to quickly communicate a change in class time, having to cancel a class, moving them off the waiting list, and things like that. And Praveen has been very open to implementing email notifications as well. So we're working with him in that regard. Number 4, and this kind of goes to Mike's point about the app and a complete member engagement software. If you think about it, most softwares are software first, and then maybe they have an app that's sort of a mini version or a redacted version of the software, versus Smart Health Clubs was always app first, and then it evolved into a software. So it's not really, I wouldn't categorize it as an app. You know, it is a legit, you know, suite of products, you know, full software of products, but it always started in app-based technology. So the full product is and always will be available through the app and putting these features at your fingertips and the fingertips of your members. So it's not this sort of afterthought that we have to have an app because everybody has an app. It's a legit app, but also a software product. Reporting is coming along nicely. So think about it. Now you have an app that you can actually run group fitness reports of, you know, almost unheard of. You know, I've been on the MindBody app. I've been on a number of apps and we've used a number of them, but it's always been, you know, you got to log in through the desktop to get to a reporting database to get information. And you're able to leverage that through the Smart Health Clubs app. So that's still building and growing and developing every day, but everything that we've seen so far, we're leveraging. Next, I want to talk about requests, customization. You know, when the software, regardless of what it is, isn't exactly what you need it to be. So you'd be like, man, it'd be great if the software could do this. And you sort of contact your account rep. And, you know, Clay could speak to this, you know, through his time in the industry. And I call it the big 4 responses that you get. So take your club management software, for example, because that's easy to digest and everyone has one. How many times have you heard, we'll look into that? You know, good idea, we'll look into it. Number 2, I'm going to send that to our tech team and suggest that they add that to our product roadmap. Number 3, hey, we just can't do that. You know, really good idea, but, you know, we have so many clients, this would change everything for everybody. We just can't do that. And then number 4, which I appreciate and is developing quite nicely, is we can't do that, but we have this integration with this other software that can, or we have an open API so you can tie into it, which is great. You know, we've evolved as an industry, but what that effectively means is you need umpteen other softwares in order to do what you really need to do. So Praveen and Mike will tell you, we've been extremely aggressive with them, sending them spreadsheets of requests that it'd be great if you could do this and you could do that. And not only has Praveen been able to do that, but that's their whole MO, is they want to use feedback from their clients as research and development in order to build what they truly want to build, which is what Mike talked about, which is this full service, you know, member engagement app. And I remember the first time that Praveen told me that, I thought he was out of his mind. You know, I said, there's no way you can be everything to anyone. Like, that's just too much. That's why billing softwares are really focusing on being a billing software and building out integrations and APIs. So, you know, he's and the team over there has done extremely well in developing the software. So it's kind of cool because you get out of it what you put into it. So if you're willing to dedicate time to participate in the feedback loop, you can get the features that you need as long as they make sense. And even if you can't get it exactly how you need it, you know, Praveen's probably going to come up with a workaround and a way to do it. So we really appreciate the effort on that. So I'm about at my time. I'm going to stop there, but I'll leave you with this. I talk to clubs almost every week about Smart Health Clubs. It usually takes me about 30 to 45 minutes to kind of do a deep dive on your business and understanding how smart health clubs might tie into that. So best way to get a hold of me, shoot me a quick message on LinkedIn. And if you want to set aside some time to really talk about how it might be applicable to your business in detail, I'm happy to do that. So I know that's a lot of information. Hopefully it was concise enough. And Mike, Praveen, Brad, appreciate the time.
Thank you so much, Aaron. That was more than we had hoped for. It was wonderful. Thank you so much. Today, what we're going to also focus on is providing you and your club with some solutions and ideas to help generate revenue, create engagement, and restore your business back to pre-COVID, and at least come up with a solution to keep you operating during COVID as we're recovering from COVID and in the middle of it. So next, what we're going to talk about is identifying some reasons that or some challenges that current clubs are facing. So from talking to all of you, from other webinars, from listening to what you guys have been saying, there are several reasons why trainers are not returning to the club. And you guys are noticing that in large effect, that trainers and group exercise instructors are having trouble returning to the club. Mike, do you want to touch on this, please?
Sure, and thank you very much, Aaron, for your kind words and testimony. We really appreciate that. I think to go back to this, let's start this by saying we know that clubs, many clubs, are having trouble getting their trainers back and getting them back. When I say full-time regarding what their schedule was. So if someone was on the schedule 20 hours a week or 40 hours a week or 18 hours a week. And a lot of the clubs feel like there's been a lack of loyalty from the trainers and some instructors. I want to start out by saying, you know, almost all of the clubs were in a lockdown or closed mid-March. Many of us were able to open for a very short time in mid-June, and we were closed again in mid-July. So if you really look at it, it's been about a 7.5 month closure for most clubs, and those that have been able to open have mostly been able to open with some pretty severe restrictions on the number of a percentage of the capacity of members that can be in the club. You know, you may have had a 2,500 or 3,000 square foot group exercise studio and you're limited to 10 or 12 people. Your lockers and showers and jacuzzis perhaps haven't been able to open. Members have had to wear masks. Let's put that aside for a second and look at it from a commissioned personal trainer's perspective. First of all, several clubs continued to pay their trainers during this shutdown for a period of time, but the mass majority were forced to either furlough them or lay them off. If you're a commissioned person and you have to come back into a situation like this, and you know that you don't know what percentage of your clients are going to come back and train with you, you're going to have some financial fears. And during the closures, what most trainers and some instructors figured out is that they could train their dedicated clients at parks, maybe at their home. They could train them for cash payment at a discount, and most of them are probably also getting unemployment. So looking at the short term, financially, that's what they're looking at. Now, to come back to the club and know that their clients aren't ready to come into the club in numbers, and they're on a commission basis, it creates an issue for them. And that's, I think, at the core of the challenge of getting them back and getting them dedicated and loyal and back to their regular schedule. So what do we do about this? You know, I've been in the industry 31 years, and I think we can't rely on what's worked in the past. And what I'm going to throw out and ask you to consider is not going to be right for a lot of people, because it requires probably taking a financial risk on the club owner operator side. But one of the things I think we got to look at with all these commission people is possibly either for a short time till we're out of COVID or ongoing, consider putting them on a base pay against commission. It will show a commitment from the club. It will show a lot about your culture and your caring for these people that perform a needed service to both you as an owner operator and to your members. You know, most of them don't think past their paycheck, and many of them don't think about the fact that they're out there training clients without general liability insurance. Somebody drops a barbell or a dumbbell on their foot and breaks their foot and they get sued. They have no insurance. They have no workers' comp insurance if they get hurt. Many of them don't have health insurance benefits. They don't get the benefits that we were giving them as club operators, 401ks, paid vacation, et cetera, et cetera. So I think you have to, in addition to that, unemployment, as we all know, doesn't last forever. You need to discuss that with your trainers. You know, the benefit of having a nice club to work out in, complimentary. The last thing, and it's just a numbers crunching thing, is you look at health insurance. For those clubs that were offering to pay a percentage of the premium for the employee, for the personal trainer, maybe it was 70, 75, 80%, consider picking up the balance of that, certainly at least through this pandemic that we're going through, and maybe on a longer term basis. We always looked at it, if we incurred a cost of A, how long did we have to keep a member paying dues to recover that? And it was usually a very short time. So those are a few of the things that I would recommend that you consider. And I think the last thing is you have to make it very clear to your trainers, if after all this is said and done, they decide to remain independent and train people on their own, I think you have to remind them, you have to wish them well, tell them you hope they do very, very well, but that they will never work at your club again in the future. And I think you have to stand by that. So those are just a few things to think about. And I would like to turn it over to Brad Thorpe to talk about how we can take the club to the member during this pandemic.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Aaron, for your kind words also. Happy to be here today, and thank you for everybody here today joining us. But so what are some of the solutions to getting your members engaged again in your facility? Some of the biggest areas that have been talked about out in the market today is offering virtual memberships, you know, to bring your club to your members. And this is being done through on-demand video libraries with your club trainers. The members actually like to see, you know, the trainers they have worked with in the past on the videos, not just download of a library of trainers. And the big one is everybody's looking at how can I live stream Group X classes or small group training sessions. And the other one, big one I've been hearing is two-way video conferencing for personal training, Pilates, and yoga sessions. And all that can be done through the Smart Health Clubs app today. And the nice thing is you're being able to protect your videos behind a paywall so that you can monetize these and create the income that you're falling short on today. Other things you can do is offer fitness training plans that members can purchase along with booking and hiring the trainer capability. So those are some of the things that we're seeing and being able to adapt to the market, the trends that are needing to have solutions applied to. And we're happy to say that we're able to do this extremely well. Next. So what are some of the solutions, social solutions, in getting your members engaged and retaining them? We've come up with a few unique ones, and I hope that some of these resonate and someone takes advantage of it, and we'd love to hear your feedback on them. But, you know, how do you create more social and community events for your members? You can offer virtual cooking classes, host storytime video conferencing for families, offer mixology and single socials. This can be done through, you know, Zoom calls, conferencing and all that. Create support groups for those that are in need of different things. Survey your members, see what topics that would interest them as far as support groups. You could host distance learning and homeschooling capabilities in your facility. Schedule member engagement meetings and Q&A via video conferencing. You can post video streaming and member safety updates. And the final one that I have is offer PE classes for all the homeschooled kids that are out there. Create a community in your backyard for all the school, with all the school districts. So those are some of them. I would love to know if you guys have in the chat, if you could put any others that you've thought of and that have been worked well for your facility. We'd love to hear the feedback and create this list and keep it out there and offer all the clubs out there a chance to grow and engage their members today.
Awesome. Thank you, Brad. And we are right on schedule, folks. We have one more video that we'd like to show you. It's a 2-minute video. We were having a little bit of issues with sound. There's no voice with it. It's just music. So if you can't hear the music, go ahead and imagine something amazing and fun and uplifting, because that's what it goes along with it. And then right after that, we're going to do a Q&A. If anybody has specific questions for Aaron or Mike or Brad, specific questions about COVID, about revenue generation, about member engagement, about smart health clubs, you can go ahead and type those in the chat and we'll get to all of them. And we're just going to go through this next video. So hang tight. And here we go. So did you guys hear really awesome music?
Oh, we loved it.
There was no music?
No, there wasn't.
I should have just sung along and then you guys would have really enjoyed it.
We're entertaining.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what was going on with that. But oh, we don't want to watch it again. We don't want to watch it again. Okay. So we have Mike and I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to tell everybody what's in the pipeline real quickly before.
Oh, sure.
So e-commerce is out right now. Prospect to member conversion and two-way video conferencing will be available by the end of this year. And customer acquisition, which would include CRM and website design, will be done by the first quarter of next year.
And then the crowd roared.
You got them all on mute.
No, I know. So that's awesome. There's a lot of great features and benefits coming out with Smart Health Clubs. And like Aaron said, it's more than an app or a platform. It's really a whole suite of services and offerings that not only replace existing softwares and programs that you have, but really enhance your systems and your procedures, enhance the member experience, and definitely enhance the operating experience, make it a lot easier to communicate with your members on information that's just not just promotional or revenue generating, but also informational, especially during the time that we're in. People want to know safety information updates, things rapidly, things are changing very, very quickly. And Smart Health Clubs is the way to do this. Yes, Kelly, we can, this presentation has been